We're about a week into the season, so I realize I'm a bit late with this kind of topic for the video, but there's been so much to talk about that I tried to squeeze in beforehand, and we're still early enough into the year that what we've seen on the court so far hasn't really made anything blatantly clear by any means. As you see in the title of the video, today I'll be making 5 bold predictions for the 2022 NBA season. Being fully transparent, the purpose of bold predictions isn't exactly to be 100% spot on accurate with all of them, but they're typically things that probably won't happen, but you think may beat those odds and actually come into fruition. They're supposed to be unlikely and a little bit outlandish, but they're not 100% out of the question either. Before we start though, it turns out about 49% of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I'd also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first bold prediction for the 2022 NBA season is that the Portland Trail Blazers will blow it up and start rebuilding by the end of the season. It's going to sound like I'm cheating here based on how the Blazers have started the season, but if you've consistently watched my videos in the offseason, you probably knew this one was brewing from me regardless, because there are a lot of terrifying things happening with that franchise. The writing on the wall started around the time that the Olympics were going on, when Damian Lillard was outspoken about his desire for the franchise to make big changes to help aid their chance to compete for a title, and instead of listening and being aggressive this offseason, they chose instead to mostly run it back with the same team, plus a few smaller additions around the margins, as they had last year. They were also very meek with their moves, and if anything, I've said several times already that it could be argued that they got worse. You obviously can't overreact to a handful of games to start a season, but the struggles many anticipated are on display, and Lillard's frustration could absolutely boil over if that continues. If Damian Lillard requests a trade and it comes soon, it is over for them, and a rebuild is almost assuredly on the way when that happens. The next bold prediction for the 2022 NBA season is that LaMelo Ball will be an All-Star this year. The goal of the NBA at the end of the day is to entertain the fans, and you would be foolish to ignore the fact that the entertainment value of players plays a big role in how the league rewards them. Branding, interaction, and fan support all have a lot of pull in the NBA, so when all of that comes with a player that is genuinely talented and productive, then it becomes only a matter of time before they skyrocket. This is exactly what's happening with LaMelo Ball in Charlotte, as the Hornets seem to be ready to make a big leap as an overall unit. They play a ridiculously fun brand of basketball, and LaMelo Ball is the one leading the way, stuffing the stat sheet and making viral highlight plays on a regular basis early on. He showed plenty of glimpses of this during his Rookie of the Year campaign last year, and now that he has a year under his belt, the rookie mistakes should be minimized in his game. His shot making will be more efficient this year, his confidence is through the roof, he's genuinely one of the best passers in the league, and he's perfect for an All-Star game format. So all of that, combined with the fact that Eastern Conference spots should be more readily available, makes LaMelo an interesting potential All-Star pick this year. The next bold prediction for this season is that the Los Angeles Lakers will trade Russell Westbrook before the trade deadline this season. This will easily be the boldest take in the video because it revolves around the biggest acquisition of the offseason, so I won't be surprised if a lot of you call me crazy for this, but hear me out. The Lakers were incredibly aggressive this offseason, with their only focus on getting the appropriate supporting cast around LeBron James and Anthony Davis to get the team back into title contention. They had options, and ultimately chose to trade for Russell Westbrook over a player, say, like Buddy Hield, who probably would have been a better fit, despite being a worse player in a vacuum. The fit with Russell Westbrook on the Lakers was always weird on paper, and early on it has been weird in actuality. Playing with LeBron James means the ball won't be in your hands as often, and quite simply, Russell Westbrook is not nearly as effective of an off-ball player because of his limitations as a shooter. With him, the Lakers have played some pretty poor basketball according to the eye test just watching the games, and in a small sample size, the numbers back that up too, as they are a whopping 31 points per 100 possessions worse with Westbrook on the court. The idea of Westbrook going home and playing where he grew up is great, but the Lakers will do what's best for their team, and we've seen LeBron-led teams do this in the past when they acquired Isaiah Thomas in the offseason, only to trade him that very same season as well. The next bold prediction for this season is that the Boston Celtics will struggle and end up in the play-in tournament at the end of the season. The Celtics had an interesting offseason, but I'm not so sure that's a good thing. One of the biggest issues with them last year was how inconsistent the production from the players around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were, and this year they replaced some of that inconsistency with arguably even more inconsistency. Their big additions were Al Horford, who hasn't been anywhere close to the player he once was for a few years now, Josh Richardson, who is the king of poor shot selection and questionable decision-making, and Dennis Schroeder, who is coming off of a down year in Los Angeles too, and also definitely falls into the category of inconsistent. Tatum and Brown are a brilliant duo, but they can only do so much. For example, they're coming off of a win against the Charlotte Hornets, but Tatum needed to score 41 points and Brown needed to score 30 points in that game just to squeak it out in overtime, and that's just not realistic to expect those two to do on a regular basis. Quite a few teams in the East have improved as well, so the competition will be tougher, so this wouldn't surprise me one bit. And finally, the last bold prediction I have for the season is that Josh Giddey will finish top 2 in the Rookie of the Year voting. I will be the first to admit that I may have overreacted at the time of the draft because I wasn't exactly very high on the Thunder taking Giddey with the 6th overall pick in the draft this year, feeling like it was a bit of a reach. It's still early, but I'm pretty sure that I was way off at the time, and I can admit that from what I've seen already in the preseason and early on in the regular season, that Giddey has it. He's a big point guard with natural playmaking skills, his feel for the game is incredibly advanced for a player at his age coming from overseas, and most importantly, his scoring both inside and out and touch around the basket has exceeded all expectations that I had for him. Plus, in Oklahoma City, he's going to start every game because their youth is their top priority, so he'll have the volume and role to produce well enough to get into the Rookie of the Year conversation. Obviously, the top 3 picks of Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Evan Mobley are most people's picks for the Rookie of the Year award, but Giddey is a very strong sleeper pick to sneak into the conversation. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what some of your boldest predictions for this season are. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.